Alright, hey guys, how's it going? This is my Naboo Royal Starship, probably more well known as the Naboo Royal Starship. I estimate it has around 2,000 pieces. I've been working on it for a while, off and on really. It's taken me a few months. Yeah, it's been a great build. I just want to say this is not a minifigure scale build. If I were to guess, simply I didn't really have enough pieces to make that, but I'm very glad with how it turned out. It has a lot of cool functions and gears. It's on a stand right now. There's this clear support holding up the front of it. Yeah, that helps so it's level because the front likes to droop. I'll tell you right now, the front, it looks really long, like almost too long. But if I show you the top view, it will change that. I'll just run through some views here. We got the front. Here's the back. Here's the top. So as you can see that the front bulk of it isn't actually as long as it looks. There's quite a bit of bulk in the back as well. Here's the side view. It's the ship is actually almost 3 feet long and just around 5 inches tall. So it's a sleek ship built for speed and good looks, I guess. Actually, both these views, you can tell here that they're quite close to the actual dimensions of the ship in the blueprint. You can see here, just to kind of get a grip of the scale of the ship, we got General Grievous' Starfighter from the 2011 version, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. And then after that, just for another comparison, we got Poe Dameron's X-Wing. We got the front. The shape of it turned out really well. I really like the front view here, and I was able to put some blue on the thrusters here to kind of get that it was going. It's actually quite strong. Got a lot of Technic in this build. It was pretty tricky though, getting the Technic to work because it has a lot of interior space in certain parts of it, so I had to really work around that. And then I also was able to make the bottom look really good and really smooth. I'll just turn it here for you. So if you turn it here, oh yeah, obviously dark gray pieces here. I was kind of, I knew I would have to use some dark gray pieces just because I did not have enough light gray. I mean, I don't mind them too much. They're on the back underbelly of the build. These 4 pieces here were really hard to get on. I used a lot of ball joint pieces. I thought it would be easier with that, but it actually turned out to be quite difficult. But I'm really happy with how it turned out with this nice smooth bottom leading up to the actual bottom here. I'll get into this later. This is a gear. I'm not sure what these are, honestly. They were in the blueprint. Maybe they're like the bottom shield generators or something. Since we're on the bottom right now, I might as well get into the fact that this ship has fully retractable landing gear, which I'm really happy about. I might as well get into this front one here, which I'm really put a lot of work into, and I'm glad how it turned out. You just slide this open right here. It goes about to there, and then you just grab onto this. It comes out. This folds down. So that one works really well. And if you want to, when it's landed, you can slide this back to almost where it was because it just looks better that way, And then I got landing gear here. This flap here is actually the only thing holding it in. It just barely holds on to it. So I was glad that was just the right length. You just lift that up and then bring this here, bring down the support, and it holds it in place. Same thing with over here. Yeah, I'm very glad that big ships like this are not too easy to get fully retractable landing gear to work on them. Yeah. So I'm very glad that I was able to do that. So yeah, and it lands quite nicely. Yep, and I just gotta make sure these supports are in place here. You just push them in towards the ship. And if I wanted to move it around, which I'll have to do that again with the supports. The front one is quite stable though. I can rely on it. Anyways, speaking of the bottom, there's a landing ramp here. I know you probably saw those white pieces. I can actually just lift it up here. I had to use some white pieces just because I was running low in general, but I don't mind them that much. In the Bovie, the actual landing ramp is black and white, but honestly, black on the bottom, this would just stand out too much, and this just folds out. I'll show you the bottom. show you it from the bottom. It's got like the arrows there that you see in the movie and these lines. Okay, so I actually built the ship so that the front tip is slightly pointed down, which is kind of weird, I know. But I mean, in the movie, if you look at it closely, the front tip is slightly down. It's obviously not nearly as smooth as the movie would be, but I mean, it's an attempt at it. It's not super. I used a lot of small pieces for the tip. Maybe it's not quite as blunt at the front as it should be, but yeah. I mean, overall, I'm happy how it turned out. And if you want to see that greebling there with the landing gear, there's a little bit of a better view. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's definitely not how the actual ship is, but it's as close as I could get it. Alright, so basically, I was barely able to get it so all the figures could stand up in here. I was really happy with that. So the flaps here, here's one, are like pretty thin, as you can see, just so they can stand up in there. I mean, I'll give you an example, like to Jar Jar Binks right here. You know, just put him down there. Then he fits without, like, you know, bumping his head or anything, which is really nice. It keeps the chip sleek. And anyways, yeah, I like that. And to open this one, you actually got to take off these flaps. They're just held in place by a couple of studs here. I mean, and also like this over here, which, I mean, I'm honestly happy with how it turned out. This one, oh, you got to take this off. That one is troublesome. Yeah, they're not incredibly strong because it has to be sleek, but I mean, they do the job. They make it look good. And then of course this opens up just on these Technic pieces here. Right, to start from this view, as you can see, the minifigure is able to walk out of the landing ramp with clearance, something that a lot of ships lack in general. You can see some of those dark red pieces and the dark gray right there. And you can just like hang out in here, looking at the hyperdrive all day. Sit back. Qui-Gon can be chilling away from Darth Maul. His, you know, yeah, I'm really happy with it. Just to show you, it goes down pretty nicely again, just to prove it that it does actually work, even though this part of the ship is so thin. And now just getting into this ship, you can see it a little better now, hopefully. There's the guys walking out. No, might as well lift up this flap here. It goes quite some ways. And you can see that dark tan detailing a little better there. And obviously the Technic to hold in this right side, which is not symmetric with this side. Here we got the gun holders. I don't know if you can see them. It's a combination of those dark red pieces and dark gray pieces down there. Just pop the gun right in there. Qui-Gon coming out with the landing ramp, pulling up an Obi-Wan and Anakin, but I don't have him. Seeing that he's alright. And yeah, I'm glad with how the series turned out. Definitely put a lot more work into the main interior. I'll show you that. Alright, here's a much better view to show off the landing ramp from. It coming down, you know, just like that. It's quite, you know, it's quite functional. And the landing ramp is actually, it's not too angled. Like, I tried to make it as long as I could. I could only make it so long, but I mean, it actually seems to be less than a 45-degree angle. You can definitely see that from here. I'm really happy with that it's so much less. You can have DROID here hanging out, and yeah, I just love how this turned out. A really good advantage about the windscreen being so big is that you can see the figures inside, and they can all like stand up and be pretty close. There's Qui-Gon there, the pilot, and behind the pilot is Captain Bernanke. I'm not sure if you can see that. The lighting's a little tricky. Yeah, and then there's Obi-Wan Kenobi on the left. Yeah, I really liked how it turned out. These plates here are really hard to angle right, so I'm glad that I was able to do that. There's only a couple little gaps here, which I'm not too frustrated about. I'm pretty satisfied with how flush I was able to get the whole thing overall. All right, now to get into the main part of this. So this big piece here just totally just pops off. It's held actually quite well with one stud there. I got a droid room here, the more front room with the pilots and, you know, co-pilots, all of them up there. There's actually plenty of space to have them. These two things here can actually just slide over that and allow for some more space in there. And then lots of space in here. I mean, it's probably 8 by 11 in that front room are the dimensions of the movable area. Figures can fit up just about in any place in this front room. Can stand up, not as many places in the back room, but most of them. Like kind of in the area where Jar Jar's standing is the best. And in case you're interested, here's like the kind of the view the pilot would see when he's flying the ship. On the right, he's got this thing. It's kind of like a hyperdrive simulator of the thing in the movie. Shows the hyperdrive leaking or whatever, you know. I put some yellow fluorescent pieces there to kind of symbolize that with the light gray rim around it. And then got some controls on the left. Going closer here, you can have a little bit of a better view of all its controls and stuff. To remove the pilot, so you actually just gotta bring the seat back a little bit. I just used tan to represent leather for the seat. But you got that black thing, which is kind of like, in a sense, a steering wheel that pilots the ship. If you go over here, on the left here, I actually got some controls. These are obviously not accurate, but they're supposed to represent what Obi-Wan Kenobi used to test like the midi-chlorance's levels when Qui-Gon was studying him, and where he realized that Anakin's midi-chlorances were higher than Master Yoda's. And of course, it can add the shear here, and then put Obi-Wan obviously here, working on the, doing it at night. Yeah, I'm glad with that little set there. Not really anything much else for this front room. Well, you can see a little bit of the technique I used for strength in this area. Yeah, I used some sand blue here in the doorway. Just thought it looked good, and it was a good transition into this dark blue and white room, which is the droid room, I guess I'll call it. There's this gear here. I'll show you that in a second. But anyways, you can remove all the droids, and you get a nice white, dark blue pattern. I'm happy with it. A nice tile pattern. Alright, so the gear actually just lifts up the droids to repair the shield generators. So yeah, I thought this was kind of the hallmark of the ship, getting this gear to work. It was very, very satisfying. Yeah, so actually it works best if I lift up the ship while I do it. Alright, and then you just simply put the droid on the tan nub. Turn the gears. Then it brings the droid up to the surface. Now to show the droid coming up from the top. So first I just want to pop this thing off here. This flap pops off. I actually can keep this part on though. And then putting that kind of back to where it was. And then lifting the ship up off the stand. And then from here, I can just turn that gear under there. Bring R2-D2 up so he can work his magic. And he comes up level, nice and level with that. So he can just go right onto here, slide down, and then stud onto right here and start working on that greebling right there. R2-D2 is the one to fix it and get it to work. I was not expecting it to turn out this good. I actually don't have a flap over that greebling just because it would stick out too much. The greebling rests on top of a bunch of Technic pieces, so I would have to kind of mend the greebling into the Technic area, which would be really hard. You can definitely see that it's really nice as the ship flows. You can see R2-D2 on there. Yeah, just a bottom view. So when I turn the gear, unfortunately, once the platform comes down to the tile level, this actually pops out a little bit, but it's a sacrifice I have to make. And not one I'd like to make, but yeah, I worked really hard and I couldn't get it so that wouldn't pop out. But the nice thing is it doesn't get in the way of when it lands or anything. You only need to move it up a little bit for it to be unseen. Uh, it and it doesn't like poke out the top when it's pulled up all the way either, which is nice. So, and just for satisfaction's sake, I'll run the gear again. I'll go with the dark gray droid this time, just because, you know, it is quite satisfying to be able to see this actually happen. This, and the droid can go down quite nicely. The gears work really smooth. There's no breaks in them. And now, speaking of the thrusters, I think I was able to get the look mostly. It's really a gradual decrease in diameter as it goes along here. In the actual build, it's not. It's more abrupt here, but I mean, I just think it looks better when it's gradual. It makes the ship look more sleek and that it can fly better. And I just want to point out real quick, these pieces here, it was really nice how these flowed with the 1x4 slanted pieces here, and that it was a really crisp flush connection. Also right here, I was really glad to get this right, and like just like areas, you know, where it connects up really nicely, and most of it is quite sleek, and it's just nice to like be able to run your hand over this. Obviously, in real life, the ship would be like a ceramic key, very sleek, smooth thing. This is obviously a little more bumpy, but it still looks quite sleek, quite smooth, in my opinion. I really like focusing on gears, especially, and I'm just glad that I was able to get the gears to work in this. And of course, what good would this video be without running through some iconic movie clip scenes? Yeah, this is my first actually full-on video of a Lego design, so it cut me some slack there. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a good day.